Oh, hey, hey, what's going on, guys? So, there hasn't been a whole lot of Gunpla coming out recently from Bandai, and still waiting on my HG Nightingale. So, in the meantime, I figure I'd go to the backlog and pull out some kits to build for you guys that aren't necessarily new, but there's stuff that I have that I haven't built yet. So, we're going to take a look at some HG00 kits over the next couple of reviews, and I figure we might as well go in order with these and start off with the Ground Type Tieren, a classic design, which I do also have the 1/100 of, actually. So I might add that one to the building queue as well, but for now we'll start off with the HG. Do also have the Space Type, which we'll take a look at after that, and then both versions of the O Gundam. So, alright, let's go ahead and kick it off with the Zaku clone of the 00 series, the Ground Type Tieren. For the box art here, it's looking very cool with that machine gun attachment on the one arm, and then this weapon, which always is just going to end up reminding me of End of Evangelion, the mass production Evangelion use kind of double-ended sword weapon that it has. This is a much kind of smaller thing, but just the general shape of this. It's always going to remind me of Evangelion. Anyway, it's a really cool grunge design, very nice box art here, looking like sort of weathered on the front of the box art, very cool. On the side of the box, you can see this is going all the way back to number 5 in the HG00 line, coming out in 2007. And here on the bottom of the box, we can take a look at the action. So of course this came out before they were putting any English on the boxes, so it's just all going to be in Japanese. But you can see about the shoulder articulation, that looks quite nice. The knee shield there has always been very cool to me. It's more articulation of the stomach section. The articulation in general of this kit looks very nice. So it's also pointing out about the mono-eye. I'm not sure if that's actually going to turn or if that's just like a sticker thingy, you know, you can kind of place it where you want. We'll see once we get the box opened here in a minute. But so just some more about the articulation. It's kneeling, articulation of the hips and knees and all that. And here's look how it's going to look exactly built up straight out of the box without any painting or anything, and it looks pretty good. It's mostly one color, so it's not that difficult to get this entirely color accurate straight out the box, I would imagine, but I'm sure there's probably a couple stickers in there anyway. Here's another look at that, just kind of in a standing pose, and then an action shot illustration over here. And because this is a red label, which means that this was printed a while back, it does have the price on here, and the price of this kit coming out at 1,200 yen. Which, as you can see, it's a pretty thin box, so it's about the price you would expect. But for the quality of the model itself, I think that price is going to be very, very nice, because it looks like a really nice quality HG kit. And that is one thing that I want to talk about as we get into the next couple of reviews, going over this, the Space Type and the O Gundam and everything. I think it's worth noting that it's right around this time with the HG00 kits and then also the HG Age kits, when HG kits really became really as good as we know them to be now. Basically everything before the HG00 series was just not as nice. They really ramped it up with this series, and the next couple of reviews will just show that very clearly here as we're taking a look at these. But there you go, that's the box art recreated with the actual kit, so that's pretty cool. And then down here, illustrations and some information there in Japanese. The back side of the manual is just the end of the construction, so if we open it up to the inside, here's a bunch more information here. Some more images, including some stills from the anime there facing off with the Exia, and then some more information about the weapons. We got the color scheme down here at the bottom as well, front and back view, so some nice reference images there for you. Otherwise, we've just got the parts list here at the front, construction all throughout, and it's only the last page of the construction that's there in color. And it looks like it is an actual movable piece there for the mono-eye, so very cool. Alright, let's check out the runners. So we do have a small sticker sheet with this, and it's just a couple little color apps there, orange and white, and then one little sticker there for the mono-eye basically, so not all that bad. Then you got some polycaps here in gray. This would be PC123. Runner A going to be a big full runner here in that main dark green color, and you can see how the runner is segmented for the different variants and everything. So we'll obviously see one of those with the next review, taking a look at the Space Type. Runner B here is in this very dark gray for basically the hands and joints and weapons parts and things like that. It's gonna almost black. And runner C is some more parts in dark green. These would be parts that I would expect are all parts specifically only for the Ground Type, for example. So the Space Type will probably not have runner C and instead have runner D, if I can make a guess about that. But that's all there is, just those three runners there, so pretty simple. And the kit, I mean the design, like I said, doesn't really have a lot of color. It looks like, unfortunately, no molded orange for those orange vent details or like chest details. That would have been nice if that was just like a couple of orange pieces thrown in there, but it looks like that's what we're going to be using these stickers for. Let me go ahead and get this all built up, and then we'll see how it looks. Alright guys, so here it is all built up, looking very cool in that dark green color scheme. Big shame about the lack of actual orange parts for this, as those orange stickers for those accents on the front of the chest are kind of a pain. But overall, as I think you guys will see throughout the rest of this review, for such a clunky looking design, it is very nicely articulated, and overall a pretty solid kit and nicely detailed. But let's go ahead and take a closer look. So yeah, these stickers on the chest aren't great. On this side, it's just one big one. But on this side, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 different stickers to cover up this kind of complex shape there. So you have 4 of them. You have a little sticker for the mono-eye, that's fine. And these stickers here for like what are supposed to be some lights up on the top of these kind of shoulder sections, which look a little bit weird because it's not a recessed area. If it was recessed and you have the sticker inside there, that I think would look a bit nicer. But now it basically just looks as it is, like a sticker just placed on top of the plastic there. So from a distance it looks fine, but up close it's a little bit kind of odd looking. Then we have the seam lines, which this kit unfortunately has quite a few of, most notably right there, right down the middle of the head. That's kind of sucks. We have another one over here on the forearm, down the middle of the front and back side of the forearm there. On the legs as well, on the back of the thighs and the back of the lower leg, which on the front of the thigh, you have it there as well, but on the lower legs, at least on the front side, it's covered by this part here on the front, and then obviously on this side, you got this big leg shield there. So it's got a couple of seam lines on there, but for an HG kit of its time, that's not very surprising. Just would have been nicer if maybe like this piece for the top of the head was a single piece or something instead of having that one right down the middle. On the arms and legs, that's pretty standard, and I don't think those will be difficult to get rid of either, as they're not like running through any other details or anything except for like a little bit this going through this panel line there on the back of the arm, but pretty simple to get rid of those, not a big deal. Let's check out the articulation, starting off with the mono-eye, because the head doesn't move, but the mono-eye does move, as you can just take off the top of the head there and then rotate the mono-eye to one side or the other. So that's easy enough to do and looks pretty cool. In the stomach section here, you have a nice ab crunch forward and back. No bending side to side, but you can then rotate that like so. The backpack is just this big block stuck on there. It doesn't really move or anything, but it's cool, like antenna piece there. Just be careful not to snap that off or anything. While we're here, the back skirt does not move, but there's your hooks for hanging on your kind of knife weapon onto the back there. We'll see that in a second. The front skirt also does move. It's just this kind of chunk slapped onto there. The shoulders are interesting, as this whole side of the torso part kind of swings back and forth, and the actual shoulder joint here doesn't move back and forth. That just rotates, and you can also move the arm up and down here. This shoulder piece of armor out here, the shield bit, can move up and down. You can rotate that around. You got just a single bend for the elbow, so that is going to only bend to about 90 degrees there, like that. Some rotation in the bicep, and then the hand is just on a ball joint. But then we have this extra little flap of armor on the back side of the hand, kind of the end of the forearm, that moves on its own, so you got a little bit of movement there with that. The hips are interesting in that you got two joints. This kind of black gray part there plugs in on a ball joint, but then it's also plugged onto the legs, so you have a bit of movement there, and then just the ball joint articulation there as well. Up underneath here is where you can remove this cap to plug that onto an action base. If you move that shield part out of the way, at least on this side, you can bring the leg up to about 90 degrees to the body, and a nice double joint in the knee will give you a pretty full bend there. This shield part on this side will move forward and back, and you can also rotate that to the side, but that means like kind of pulling it off the peg there a little bit, so you have to just be a little bit careful with that. Also, this front little ankle armor moves like with what's on the back side of the wrist there, and then the ankle will rotate side to side, back and forth pretty nicely like that. And then up underneath the feet, you got basically full detail there as well. As for the accessories, you've got one open hand for the right side, aside from just your two holding hands there on the kit. And then we've got the gun and sword, kind of knife blade weapon here. Now this has a little tab in there for plugging that into the hand, but this can also be stored back here on the back skirt. As I mentioned, you just kind of drop this down onto there, and that is stuck on there like that. Nice to be able to store that on there. And then the gun just plugs right here onto the side of the arm. You can plug this onto either side, but this ammo drum only fits onto this side, so you can't switch that to the other side if you want. It only plugs onto here, and here is again where you have some stickers. So 1, 2 white stickers on this side, and then 3, 4 on the other end of that. So that just plugs right there onto the side of the arm, and you can also rotate this as well. so that works pretty nicely. For a height comparison with your standard RX-78-2 Gundam there, you can see this is going to be your average size for an HG kit, but obviously much wider than a typical Gundam. But alright guys, as we try out some different poses with this, there's not too much else to say about this kit. It's a pretty simple kit overall. I think pretty good for its time, very nice. It's got a couple of stickers, it's got a couple of seam lines, but that's something that even still continues to HGs to this day. So the fact that it's a kit that's over 10 years old at this point, that has a couple of stickers and a couple of seam lines, not really too much to complain about there. It's pretty normal. Overall, it's not the most colorful design in the first place, but I think they did a pretty good job on this. It's got a good amount of detail on there, and certainly plenty of space for more detail if you wanted to add more detail to it. I can assume the 100 scale kit is much nicer. I've not built that one yet. I do have it though, so I will try to build that one in the near future and compare them for you guys, but obviously that's going to be larger, more expensive, and possibly harder to find. I'm not sure. But I know the 100 scale version of this is kind of often in high demand. Whenever Bandai puts it out, it's usually gone pretty fast. But overall guys, if you're a fan of the design, I can definitely recommend this kit for you. If you're just looking for a cool, pretty unique looking Grunts design, this one is definitely a good fit. Let me know your thoughts on the kit down in the comment section below. Do you have this? Have you built it? Do you have a particular favorite version of the Tieren? I'll be reviewing the space type coming up next, but for now guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you to US Gundam store as well for making it all possible. Guys, check the link and the coupon code down in the video description to US Gundam store, and you can use that to shop for some cool HGs and everything else there on the site. So appreciate all your guys' support, and until next time, I hope you're all having a great day. I'll see y'all later. Bye guys.